Our radar today delivered a strong fourth quarter with healthy sequential growth in debit card spends. Customer acquisition also remained healthy, and the bank aims to expand this to 20 million by FY26. But what is the outlook for FY24? What's the business prospect as well? We are now joined by Rishi Gupta, who is the MD and CEO of the company. Mr. Gupta, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, quarter four has been good. Your customer acquisition rate has been 9% higher on a sequential basis. How has quarter one been so far in FY24? What is the run rate looking like for the rest of the year? And will you be able to achieve the 20 million target before FY26?
So, good afternoon. We have been growing at 20% plus for the last few years. And in 22-23, we grew at about 22% on an overall basis. We crossed 1,230 crores of top line. Quarter one has been good. We are on track. We have already shared the guidance that we'll continue to grow at 20%. Minimum of 20% for the rest of the couple of years to go from here. And we are seeing a lot of traction for our strategy, which is transaction account to monetization is going great guns. We are seeing number of accounts going substantially. And you can see from there, the debit card spends also have grown substantially. There has been a growth of our deposits. Nearly 66% deposits have grown to 1,200 crores in FY23. Our average balances are also grown by 11%. So overall basis, the strategy around transaction to accounts to monetization is gaining ground. We believe the ownership will continue to grow from here. We are also seeing the renewal benefits coming from there. There's a 141% growth in our renewal income last year. So substantial growth coming from ownership products, both on CMS as well as on CASA. Our CMS number grew by nearly 93% to 46,000 crores of throughput last year. So, and we are continuing to see this trend in quarter one as well. Our CMS numbers are better than quarter four also. Our account activation numbers are holding ground. And we expect that the spends will continue to grow from here in FY24 as well.
Okay, well, it seems as though you're growing on a scorching rate, Mr. Gupta, at this point. But I just wanted to drill down a little bit on the debit card spends, which is down on a year-on-year basis. What is the trend that you're noticing there?
In fact, if I look at our debit card overall spend, it has grown by 66% in FY23. And the average transaction volume, average transaction ticket size has also grown by 10% to nearly 3,000 rupees. What is also important is that the entire debit card ecosystem is also moving from debit cards to UPI. A lot of transactions for small values are now moving to UPI, and people have started using UPI largely for P2P as well as P2M transactions. Fino has seen a substantial growth in UPI business, much higher than the industry growth in the last 1 or 2 years. We now contribute nearly 1.1% of the total issuing bank throughput under UPI. In fact, our UPI volumes have grown from 10% of the overall throughput to nearly 20%. And 40% of our customers are actually, we are talking about the lower income category customers, which are largely our customers in Fino. Their share has gone up to 40% of my customers are now using UPI for transactions. Higher transactions or UPI means higher renewal, higher balances. So on an overall basis, if I look at both debit cards and UPI put together, there is a substantial change pattern which we are seeing, and we are seeing a high level of spending contrary to what we saw in the last couple of years. The spendings have really grown substantially in the last 2 to 3 quarters, okay, I would say.
So for your business in particular, now based on the trend of this transition which is taking place from debit cards to UPI, how much is debit cards as a percentage of revenue for you? How much is UPI? And as the year progresses, say by the end of FY24, what would the ratios be?
So we don't look at debit card revenue per se, because debit card comes along with the bank account as such. But if I look at the throughput, which is a volume of business which is done on the debit card platform as well as on the UPI platform, whereas we saw a substantial jump coming in both the platforms because we are seeing people migrating from cash to non-cash, which is a substantial movement we have seen in the last couple of years. Debit card is roughly about 20%, 15 to 20% of the overall digital spend which we see, and UPI contributes to nearly 85% of the spend on the digital side. Both debit cards and UPI put together contribute about 22-23% of the overall throughput which Fino has.
Okay, 22 to 23% is debit card plus UPI in terms of throughput. Last question before we let you go. Can you talk about the renewal rate? Because you said renewals were higher as well in CASA plus CMS. And your share of open banking revenues have been increasing. What is it currently and what are the margins in this product?
So on the renewal side, we have seen, as I mentioned earlier, nearly 167% growth. If I look at from overall basis in FY23 versus FY22, in quarter 4 of FY23, we saw a 141% growth in our renewal income. We continue to see healthy growth in the renewal income in 23-24 as well. As far as the API is concerned, own banking channel continues to be our largest bread earner. It was 67% of the overall business for us in quarter 4. As we have said earlier, we want to maintain within 64 to 66, 67% range on the own to API channel. API channel gives us a lower margin, but gives us a throughput and ability to do more business with our partners. So it's part of our integral strategy to do more own and API, but maintain a healthy mix so that we have a good net revenue margin coming from the overall business point of view.
So that will continue to be the share for own banking channel versus the banking channel which is outsourced, or I would say open banking revenues.
Yeah. So somewhere around 64 to 66% is a good range at which we want to be.
Okay. All right, Mr. Gupta, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and speaking with us. So that is Fino Payments Bank. The stock is managing to buck the trend today amongst a lot of the financials. The stock is up around 2.8% at this point in time.